Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss the main political news right now, the results of the assisted dying bill, what the vote really means, what happens now, and what I thought of the debate, which a lot of people are praising for actually being intelligent for once. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel. So I'm not going to go over sort of my thoughts about the bill as such. I've already gone over those in the past, and this would go on far too long if I added my extra thoughts now. But I've seen a lot of news on the results of the assisted dying bill where a majority of MPs voted in favour, as if it's a major victory for campaigners behind the cause. However, let's just point a few things out. First, the vote was 330 in favour and 275 against. Now, if you're a supporter of this bill, that's not actually a very good result. Now, why not? Because this was just the first vote. It was after the second reading. The process now moves on to the committee stage, where potential amendments to the bill are formulated. MPs will then debate and vote on those amendments, and then, if successful, it will pass into the House of Lords. Now, to be successful at the final vote in the Commons, when MPs vote for a bill after the second reading, they're not necessarily saying they want the bill to become law. What they're saying is, this has potential. Basically, all the MPs who vote against it are saying, there is no way to fix this bill, we do not want it in law. But if you vote for it, you may want it in law, or you may be saying, if you just make a few changes, we can go with this. So if the amendments they want to see are passed, then sure, those MPs will vote in favour again at the third reading. But other MPs might not like those amendments and withdraw their support. Or the amendments that the other MPs wanted may not pass and they withdraw their support. Basically, you can easily end up with fewer MPs voting for a bill on the third reading than on the second. This result is far too close to be sure it will even clear the House of Commons. But if it does, then there's the House of Lords stages. Now, I have no idea what would happen there. It's not a government bill, so it could in theory just be held up by the Lords, by any detractors in the House of Lords, until it runs out of time. And if it runs out of time, that's it, it's done. I wouldn't be at all sure that this bill is going to pass into law, at least not yet. However, what I would say is, given that the public overwhelmingly support the bill, like YouGov poll had 70% agreeing with the principle and actually 73% supporting the conditions that were set out in this specific bill. There's also a clear majority of voters of all the four largest parties by vote share, including Reform UK, where 3 of their MPs actually voted in favour to 2 against. So if the bill is blocked wherever, but especially in the House of Lords, it could just be argued that this would piss off a lot of the public who don't understand why something they support by such a large margin has been blocked when they thought MPs had voted in favour of it. This would likely mean public pressure to bring it back and do it properly the next time. Not that I'm saying I don't think the bill will pass into law. I just think there are major hurdles yet to clear. Not the least of which is that the Departments for Health and Social Care and the Ministry of Justice will have to feed into the committee stages, because those are the 2 departments that are going to have to enact this. And both of the cabinet ministers in charge of those departments have been shooting their mouths off about opposing the bill. Something that apparently annoyed Starmer, particularly with Streeting, because he was just going on and on and on and had to be told to shut up. Personally, I don't think any cabinet minister should have said anything publicly ahead of the vote, for this reason, really, as well as a few others. As for the breakdown of the vote, incredibly interesting. It's not evenly balanced between the parties by any means. Like, of the 3 parties with a lot of seats, so you can just see by eye, a clear majority of both Labour and Lib Dems voted in favour, and a clear majority of Conservative MPs voted against. So obviously there is some political leaning on the issue, but there were still significant numbers of all 3 of those parties represented on both sides. It was a vote which didn't really go down party lines. And for good reason. Party leaders had not whipped for the vote, and nor had party leaders of the major parties anyway given a real leaning onto the way they'd expect their MPs to vote. And when you've got reports of people saying that the debate was conducted in a very respectful and intelligent manner, you can well imagine people thinking, well, why can't it always be like this? If only we didn't have party politics. But I think this bill will actually show why party politics is a necessary evil. This was the most non-partisan yet controversial vote that I can remember for a long time. It has clear public support. And yet I cannot say with any confidence that it's going to pass into law. If it were a government bill, which I agree probably shouldn't be, then its passage would be certain. But because it's a private member's bill where the party system is not involving itself, it's going to face massive obstacles. So if we didn't have the party system, imagine what would happen to bills where public support was not so clear-cut. Nothing would get done. As for the debate itself, I absolutely agree that it was conducted in a very respectful manner. I don't think I would agree that I could describe it as particularly intelligent as debates go, as some commentators have. More intelligent than usual, I'll give you that. But like, first of all, I mean, Exhibit A would be Robert Jenrick. Okay, he's one MP, but still. He showed that there is no cause too sensitive or serious to leave his toxic brand of populism at home. He came right out saying he was opposed to the bill because it would be subject to activist judges in Strasbourg. Of course it wouldn't. The European Court of Human Rights has made clear many times that it has no involvement in assisted dying laws in any country. It's got nothing to do with any of their work. And there are several countries that are signed up to the Council of Europe that have these laws. But just the fact he would use this debate to push his second Brexit bollocks sullied the proceedings. Nigel Farage conducted himself much better. And it also occurred to me that some of the opponents of the bill, including Jenrick, have spoken in favour of capital punishment before. So it's like, well, hang on a minute. So you're comfortable with possibly innocent people being killed against their will. But if they're experiencing constant tortuous levels of pain and medicine cannot comfort them, they must be made to suffer even if they are able to clearly express a wish to be assisted in ending their torment. Make it make sense. Some of the arguments were also quite spurious, like more than one example describing the marvellous results of palliative care for people MPs knew, or the fact that palliative care is not where it is, and so maybe some people will take their lives where if palliative care was better, they wouldn't. It's like, this bill doesn't affect that. In fact, everyone who could possibly take advantage of this law will be receiving palliative care by definition. If it works for them, this proposal does nothing at all. If palliative care is improved in the future, this bill has no impact. Why bring it up? And some brought up issues which could exist in principle, but this bill specifically rules out. In fact, I think the bill is excessively restrictive because it will still leave some people in such a state that they will still seek to illegally end their lives. Several of the outcomes that some detractors put forward were physically impossible within the confines of this bill. Why waste time talking about them? Now, I'm not saying that the arguments on the opposing side were all bunkum, by the way. They weren't at all. In my view, most policies are actually fairly black and white in terms of the facts of them. The nuance is usually in terms of what you can do practically. For example, like immigration is much more clear-cut than politicians make out. However, the nuance is essential because there is a gulf between what the public understand about immigration and the actual facts. But this bill is genuinely very nuanced. There are not conclusive arguments either way, and there are genuinely valid debates being had. It's just that there was too much bullshit mixed into it as well. Some MPs were complaining that there wasn't enough time to debate the issues, but they would have had more time if people didn't keep making spurious arguments. I'd also say I was disappointed that hardly any MPs referenced speaking to constituents about it. Rupert Lowe of Reform UK was one who did, to his credit. Might be the first and last time I ever praised his work as an MP. But it irked me that so many MPs suggested that their decision, on both sides, by the way, on both sides, was based on some personal experience of theirs rather than research or actually talking to the people they're representing. But to end on a positive, and Robert Jenrick aside, it was nice to listen to a debate for once that actually sounded like a debate between rational people instead of, well, politicians, I suppose. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, you can join for memberships. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.